Hey, this video is for widows and widowers out there who are just starting to walk through this journey of the loss of their spouse, or maybe you're 1 year in, or you're 2 years in, or maybe you're 3 or even 5 or 7 years in. We're all at different places in this journey, but I feel like a lot of us experience the same types of things. And I want to talk to you about three things that I have experienced, three themes really that I've experienced over the last 2.5 years of walking through this journey of losing my spouse. I'm actually 3 months into my third year, and but I want to talk about the first year. The first year, I remember having conversations with people, and people would be like, "That first year, man, it's just like it's brutal. It's the worst. This will be the hardest year for you." And it's funny because you'll be having conversations with people who've never even lost anybody before, and they're telling you what your experience is going to be, and then all of a sudden you get into it and you're like, wait, that's not what I'm experiencing. But but that first year for me, the word that I gave for that first year was just that it's weird. It's just, you can't even explain it. It's just bizarre. It's weird. There's no words for it other than that, at least for me. But that first year for me, I just would say I was numb. I didn't know how to feel. You're all of a sudden in a situation that you've never asked to be in. You've never anticipated that it would come. You knew that it was a possibility, but just lots of people around us don't die, especially when they're young. And man, that first year was just, for me, was just that I was numb. And I would almost even feel bad at times because of what people said. They said, this is going to be the hardest thing, as you're going to go through the year of firsts. And so like an anniversary would come, and I could anticipate that it would come, and then it would pass, and I wouldn't feel bad. I'd just be like, yeah, like, I don't know, it was weird. I didn't feel bad about it, and I would almost feel guilty at times. And then birthdays would come, and then, these different dates, Christmas, Thanksgiving, Halloween, whatever it was, these dates would come and they would pass, and it wasn't that bad. But I would have these seasons of like these waves that people talk about, the waves of grief. And it was like, I'd be okay for quite a while, and then all of a sudden I would just like have these deep lows. But for the most part, I was just numb, because and the reason is because you're trying to figure out how to close somebody's life down. The bank account has to be shut down. You got to get death certificates so you can pass out to people. You're planning funerals. You're planning, just all these things, whether it's graduations, all this stuff has to happen. And so you're kind of busy with details while walking through the grief process, and you don't know how to feel. And so you're just numb. It's just, year one for me was just numb. Maybe you're experiencing that right now. Year two for me, that was the hardest year. I would still have these waves, these ups and downs, where I'd be up longer than I was down, but when I was down, it was really hard. And I would almost be like, gosh, maybe I think it's just more depression. I know sometimes grief does feel like depression, but I would really question if I was, having some depression, and maybe I should get help for that. And I had coaches and mentors and therapists and all kinds of people to walk me through as I got into that second year. I just didn't have anything in that first year. I didn't know anybody who had ever walked through this. I remember thinking, gosh, if I'd pay somebody to help me navigate this first 12 to 24 months, and I just didn't have anybody. And I didn't have somebody who had gone through it that was my age. And so, but year two was the reality. I call this the realization, the reality of my story, of my situation, that this person that I was with for 25 years, together married for 22, was not here. The reality kicked in. As these dates would come, the reality of her not being there anymore was just the reality. And and it was really hard, because it's the realization that your life, of what your life was, is not that anymore. And that's a tough pill to swallow, right? So like the anniversary comes, or the birthday comes for that person, or the birthdays for your kids come. And it's like, one of the things that we did do for our kids all the time is we would hang up streamers over their doors while they're sleeping. And then in the morning we would turn on Stevie Wonder, Happy Birthday. And as a family, we'd sit there and celebrate that person for like 15 minutes and just be goofy and be fun. And so all of a sudden I found myself doing that by myself that second year. And as you're doing that, it's just the realization that, like, man, it's the loss, the magnitude of that loss was the reality, and it sucked. It sucked. It's not fun. And and then you're anticipating like going into that third year, and all of a sudden like the day passes your person um, where your person passed, and you start entering into that third year. And I'm 3 months into this process, and the theme that I'm seeing for this third year is kind of this reset or restart, or now what, and call it now what. What am I going to do now? And what I've noticed is that people get stuck either in the first year or the second year. I have friends that have lost people, and it's been 4 years and 5 and 7 and 8 years, and they struggle moving forward. And it's easy to get stuck. I explain what it feels like to lose a spouse. It's like Mo and I our kids are going to be graduating high school and going into college, and we were going to be becoming empty nesters. And then all of a sudden, we pack our car up and we're going to be heading out on the road. And it's like we're going to go to New York from Las Vegas to New York, and we're like in the middle of nowhere in like New Mexico, and the car breaks down, and you're standing on the side of the road, and I'm looking at that car, and the car represents our life. Everything that we have is inside of that car, and the car represents my wife passing away. It's never going to start again. That car's never going to start. And we're on our way to New York, and all these other cars are passing by you at the same time. And that's the representation of other people's lives that just continues. And you're standing on that side of the road next to that car, and nobody's stopping for you because life moves on. It's like you can't even be mad at people for it. And so now you're standing there and you're going, everything I have is in that car, and that car's never going to start again, and I can't bring everything with me. And I'm looking towards New York, and I'm going, do I even want to go to New York? Because this was something that we were going to do together. And now I'm looking there, and I'm like, I don't even know if I want to go there. And I turn around, look towards Vegas, and I'm like, do I want to go back to Vegas? And it's like, I don't know. And then I'm looking out in the middle of New Mexico, and it's like, I don't know where this goes, and I don't want to be stuck here. But you got to start moving in some sort of direction, because you can't just stay next to that car that's broke down for the rest of your life. And so you got to determine inside that car, what is the most important things that you can carry with you, because you only have two hands, and you got to start moving somewhere. And so you grab, the important paperworks and the pictures and the memories and the whatever it is that you can carry, and you start walking in a direction. But that third year is that kind of like that restart, that reset. I love to look at it as if you can accept if you can accept the reality of your situation, and you can get to the place where you say, I need to start moving in a new direction. I love just imagery, but I just picture myself sitting at a blank canvas as an artist, sitting at a blank canvas, and I get to choose what I get to do next. What do I want? What do I want to do? And there's a really cool, beautiful thing about that, while still walking through this grief journey. And you don't have to leave everything behind. You don't have to forget. You get to write this story, and you get to determine what that looks like, and what to bring with you and what to leave behind. And so anyway, but that first year for me was all about just being numb and just getting through. The second year was the reality of the loss, what I've lost. And that this third year, I'm moving into this season of resetting, restarting. And and I didn't have anybody. I didn't have anybody when I was walking through this process on that first 12 months. I mean, I had my friends, and I had a therapist, and I had pastors and stuff like that, but I didn't have a coach or a mentor to walk through that process. And I remember just thinking, gosh, if I can make it through this, I want to be able to help people. And so I started a coaching practice, and I want to make myself available. If you are sitting here right now and you're watching this video for whatever reason, somebody sent it to you, and you're just like, I'm stuck. I don't know how to restart. I don't know what to do. I've been in this for 12 years. I don't know what to do. I don't have it all figured out, but I do have some tools that can help you begin to move forward. And it's not moving on, it's moving forward. How do I begin to start again? How do I begin to dream again? How do I begin to find hope? How do I find joy? It's not about finding somebody to get remarried again to. Although that may be part of your story. I actually met somebody in the second year, and she's the most incredible person I've ever met. And we got married this last May, and it's a beautiful story. And I'll share more about that as as we continue to roll out our story. But if I can help in any way, I'd love to be able to be there for you. Reach out to me through you can DM me on here, and let's connect, see if coaching makes sense for you. I'd love to help you move forward. Have a great day.